Morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Heather coming to you live from my dining room. I'm here with tips, tricks, tools, and tactics for how to blow up your pretty on the outside life. My focus is on people who need to leave a relationship where everything is pretty on the outside, but it's not so pretty, both in your heart and your head, in your kitchen, in your bed, in your hallway, in your kid's life, for your pet, and in how things go down when it's just you at home, and what's said and what's done, and how maybe things go, and you're used to things and they're kind of feeling bad, and I don't know what the hell's in my hair. I see something fluffy. Well, I'm here to tell you that I blew up my pretty on the outside life on purpose because I knew I had to get back to what mattered to me, and what matters to me is leading with love, being in my integrity, being in my joy, and being happy when I'm in my own house. And I realized two things. One, I wasn't in control of my own life, and two, somebody else was controlling my life. I had a Kim Jong in my head, and I had a Kim Jong in my bed. I had a Kim Jong in my kitchen. And I will tell you this, I had to defeat the one in my own head before I ran the op to blow up my pretty on the outside life, as I call it. And what I was used to was running it so that I looked nice. Little prancy pony that I was. Or a plodding workhorse, as I have referred to myself. And what I would like to say is that my early training and the way I became indoctrinated and used to things for how things went, and how I wanted to keep up appearances, and how I learned to swallow it down, and I learned to not yell back until I started to yell back, and then I get mowed down. And what it would do would be it would be a pattern of relating. And I learned to try to make things better because I wanted to be loved. And I was consistently trying to be heard. And what I did not realize is that in the dynamic going on, that in many cases is not even recognized by the court as quote unquote a power over dynamic, what was happening was that as my personal sense of what is right and wrong and what is okay and not okay, as those were shifting sands, and as I exerted my own ideas about what that was, I was met with more force being exerted on me by somebody who claimed to love me, and I was willing to back up and lay down to not get mowed over. So this is who I'm talking to. You could be a woman, you could be a man, you could be whoever you want to be, but you are not a doormat, and you're not here to be treated like that. So this is who I'm talking to, okay? You have a pretty on the outside life. You have friends, you have a job, you have stuff, you have pets, you have kids, whatever. You do stuff, people know you, they like your now husband, which I'm going to teach you how to get a husband, okay? Or a whatever you call a past wife. I don't know what that is, but whatever, you're going to get one of those. What I learned is that I had a cross traffic system fault, and when I was driving my life, I had a complete and total blind spot. I had a cross traffic system fault in the mirror that I used to allow me to have a perception of my mate, what my mate did, how my mate did things. And I didn't know I had a huge blind spot for a lot of what was done or said. It was actually designed. I was not using the system as it was designed. I was using it to just stay in my lane and drive at a steady pace, because if I switched lanes, boom, and that would be verbal, that would be a verbal beatdown, that would be intimidating me, that would be some weird shit. And it was insidious, and it started out small, but it got bigger and bigger and bigger until I finally had to decide that I did choose myself, and I chose to leave in a manner that was safe. I executed an op. It's called having a safety plan by domestic violence people and people that have pamphlets. They call it a safety plan. I call it running an op. Mine was called GMTFO. It included getting myself out, getting the dog and cats out, getting the kid out, and locking up the finances. Those things were really troublesome because, in fact, the finances were what kept me stuck. The pets were what kept me stuck. My standing in the community was keeping me stuck. But how our son was being treated and how things were ratcheting up was the stuff that rattled my cage and got me out of inertia. Because I had learned to take it and I had learned to dish it in certain cases, but the punishment never fit the crime. So if this sounds like your reality, what I would like you to do is listen. And what I would also like you to do is know that if things are ratcheting up and it feels totally terrible and it's super scary and somebody is threatening you, intimidating you with their body, throwing stuff around, doing weird stuff to your kids, hurting your kids with word and deed, scaring your pets, that is domestic violence. If they are taking your money or if they are moving money without your permission and it is being shunted off into accounts that you have no idea exist or that you're not on, that is also in the wheel of what domestic violence is. That's in that wheel. So I'm talking to you, okay? So do me a huge favor, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Call a local shelter, call their hotline and talk to them and tell them what's going on and start getting your head wrapped around the fact that you might have to do some things that will make things inconvenient. First, you become inconvenient to yourself because you realize what the heck is going on. And then you have to become very inconvenient to other people, specifically your mate. So if this sounds like it's familiar, I would like to say that I successfully did blow up my pretty on the outside life. I did run it like an op. I did have a lot of adversity. I still face adversity in many cases. And there are going to be two narratives. So if you do have a Kim Jong who's running around in your house and you, it's them. A lot of the times. You play into it, you do. But if you're leading with love and you're still trying to be heard, and not only is that person not hearing you and not respecting you and doing other stuff, then I would like you to listen. You may have a cross-traffic system fault in how you relate to that person and how you take in and allow in what's going on versus what's real and right before your eyes. So yesterday on the 28th, I talked about how I'm your trip to the eye doctors. We're gonna get you glasses. You're gonna have reading glasses for right here. You're gonna get glasses that let you see far away, and then you're gonna get night vision goggles for when you run your op because it's gonna get dark. And you're gonna need those because you're gonna be operating in conditions that are somewhat distressing and unfamiliar. So if you have the night vision goggles, you can see what's going on. Here's the thing I want to say. I ignored red flags. I pushed them down. And in some ways, I whooshed right out of the way because I wanted to be loved. The person was super cute, handsome, nice, fun. We went on vacations. We did cool stuff. We had nice friends. Blobbity freaking blah. But at the end of the day, on many occasions, I ignored the thing in my head and the thing in my heart that told me that there was stuff going on that wasn't congruent with the way I liked things to be. And a lot of it I didn't give voice to in the moment when it was occurring. And I didn't allow it to sink in deep enough that it forced me out of my inertia. So I would like to say that one of the things you're gonna have to do is take a long, hard look at how you've been managing. And some of the things you've been doing is you've been running on a program. Sometimes you're a prancy pony And sometimes you're a plodder. You keep your head down, and you just keep going. A, because you've been trained and indoctrinated, and B, because if you stand up for yourself, if you try to shake off that person that's either or riding you, or they just expect you to go along at a certain pace and keep going and keep up the facade, if you try to shake them off, okay, shit gets real. So I want to tell you that you definitely have choices, but you have to know what you're dealing with. So I want you to consider the fact that perhaps you have two different operating systems, and you are leading with love, and you are leading with integrity, and you are leading with goodness, kindness, and light. And I want you to think about the opposite of those. And I want you to think that some people have operating systems that aren't light-filled, but they look really nice on the outside. They have a lack of integrity that shows up, A, in how they treat you, and B, in how they do certain things, such as, how do they manage your finances? Do they tell you? Do they do stuff? Have you given up trust to them, and then you find out that you owned a catering restaurant that you were running out of your house, when in fact you know that you didn't have a kitchen because your kitchen was being demoed? And afterwards you realize that the name that they asked you to name your house was the name of the pop-up catering restaurant that they claimed on the taxes to take a huge loss for? Is that something that maybe you have going on that you have no idea about? Well, I found that out. And how did I find that out? I started really looking at things. I put on the right glasses, and then I finally had to put on the goggles, the night vision ones for blowing it up in my op. I had to drop in low, and I had to know how to blow shit up. So I had to have people on my team that I trusted. How to keep it really quiet, gather the intel from multiple sources, and then the tips, tricks, tools, tactics. There's one more T, that's training. You have to train. I train like a mother. I'm a mother. I am a mother. And in the process of filing for divorce, I found out what a mother I am. Because when stuff was being leveled at me, and things that were on the surface, motions and briefs and things, what it was designed to do was it was designed to shake my bedrock and obliterate me. And what I had going for me was that I do lead with love, I do lead with light, I am a loving being, and at the end of the day, my goal was to get back to who I know I really am. So if I'm talking to you, what I would like you to do is seriously consider that you need to start looking at stuff. You need to start looking at your finances. You need to start looking at your taxes. You need to understand where your assets are. Is the house in two names? Is it only in his name? Still coming into my voice. That's why I sound like this. What is your stress level? What are your coping techniques? How do you get by? How do you keep from your head completely exploding in conflict? When you have conflict, are you eviscerated? That means disemboweled by your partner verbally. Are they posturing at you? Are they threatening to smash your child's Xbox simply because your child sasses them back? That is prisoner management, POW stuff 101. So the way I got hip was over a long period of time, I finally realized that I was outgunned and outmanned and out Kim Jong. Kim Jong was in my head and Kim Jong was in my house. So I got rid of the one in the head, and then I had to train to deal with the one in my house. I went far underground. He had no idea that I was hip to some of the stuff that I was hip to. But I will tell you that one of the ways I got hip was doing something as simple as a financial aid app for my kids' school. And then I had access to more documents, and I realized oh my gosh, he's willing to leave a car off the financial aid app. Head scratcher. So I asked him why. He's like, well, it might materially affect our access to aid. And I'm like, well, it might materially be a lie. And you can't really tell that Kim Jong who's in your kitchen or your bed or whatever that they're a liar. That is never going to go well, because Kim Jong knows he has an army behind him, and he also knows he has a room with hungry dogs. So if you don't want to go to the room with the hungry dogs, you better not take on your Kim Jong. And if you do, oh, there's my second in command, that's Darby the Doberman. You know that Kim Jong's got an army behind him, and those are people that think he's great because he is in public. They think he's nice because he is in public. They really like him because he's really likable until he's not. So just know that you're up against some stuff, and I want you to do something for me. I want you to seriously watch the show Dirty John, and the second one that's about what happens to the wife after she goes through a lot of litigation. There's 2 versions of Dirty John. Watch both of them. I'm going to keep referring to that show. Watch the show Marcella. It's about an English detective and what happens when she has some stuff go on, and then she finally realizes some things. And first she thinks it's about her and her reality, but then she realizes that there's 2 different realities. So Marcella, and those are on Netflix. I'm not getting paid by Netflix, but this is going to give you a perspective on how you can operate in a couple of different realities. You can be super high functioning and you can have a great life, but there can be an entirely different unknown subtext going on, and things get really real. Like, say, when you try to stand up for yourself and you can't hold the line, the person crosses through your boundaries. And they repeatedly do this, and they chip, chippity, chip, till you don't even know who you are, not because you're not amazing and not because you're not presenting yourself well, because at the core of it, there's been some chipping. And instead of standing up, you take a dive, you go on the mat, especially if you think that it's going to occur in front of your kids. Or when you do try to stand up, it's only getting worse and worse and worse. Or you're cooking dinner, and you're like, how am I gonna manage this? I am so tired. So just keep your mouth shut. So if this sounds like something that you understand, I'd really like you to watch Marcella. I'd really like you to watch Dirty John. And I'd really like you to understand that you have a cross-traffic system fault that is not allowing you to see the red flags for that person that claims to love you, that is not in fact acting in a loving way. And then they're saying you. Nope, it's them in many cases. Or it could be both of you, but it's not an even power dynamic. So study, Google uneven power dynamics and see what you get. And also, my favorite song lately, Hadaway, What is Love? Think about what is love, and then think about what hurt is. Maybe write 1 page for every year that you've been married or together with this person, and write a page for each year, and then look at it and see what it is, and see what you see what comes up. It's good exercise. All right, dudes, stop it. If you like my content, come back. If you think your phone or your computer is being tracked or overseen by the Kim Jong who's in your house or in your life, then think seriously about how you're gonna do stuff, because you're probably gonna have to go pretty far underground to gather your data, especially about finances if you have joint finances. Consider how you're gonna have to get out, and consider what the stakes are if you stay in, especially for your health, your well-being, and what love really is, okay? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. So think about that. I'm gonna go. It's, what time is it? Oh, it's 11:13. I have 1 hour till I have to go get our child from school, okay? I turned my husband into a husband. If you need to do something like that, come back. Like, share, and subscribe. You don't have to subscribe if you think that person's looking at your tracks on your computer, or if they have administrative privileges or can see what you did on your phone. Consider stacking up the cash, starting to take 20 bucks here, 20 bucks there every time you go to the store. Why? Because you might need cash. Just saying. In the meantime, what do I always say? Love yourself, baby. And then love on your dogs. Love on your kids. Love on your kitties. Love on who's ever really worthy of your love. You start with yourself, okay? See ya. Bye.